Hello world, welcome back to my stream, and I am back from a 1 week hiatus. So yeah, we're going to get back to coding, and we actually have a different topic today. We will be working, instead of working on our Open Focus Timer app, and last time we also made a body crouch release, which you can see. This is the summary document from last time. And we are going to work on something else though in this stream, in the morning stream this Friday. And in the afternoon stream, I'll be going back to the Open Focus Timer to make progress on that. And we are going to work on my open source tool AnyLint, which I'll go into more details here later. But before we get to that, good morning, Asiasi, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Before we get to that, I'd like to point out a few things that happened in the meantime to everyone who has missed it. So first, there is one change in our stream. We have some new feature in the stream. It's related to some Twitch extension, and it's called the Pokemon Community Game. And basically what you can do now is you can play Pokemon in the chat. You can play this community game in the chat while watching me. How that works, let me just send you a post here. Hey, Big Batson, welcome to the stream. Finally made it to one of your streams again. Welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to one of your streams. I think you always streamed when I just didn't have the time. I saw your notification though, and I wanted to join, but I couldn't. And basically, we have this new game, and you can play it in the chat while watching. And for that, you just need to write PokeStart, exactly, Big Batson. And you'll get one random Pokemon. This is your starter. So, for example, Big Batson just started with PokeStart and got a Grookey as his first Pokemon. And then what you can do basically is every 15 minutes while my stream is ongoing, there will be a new Pokemon to catch in the chat, and then you can just throw your Pokeballs. There's also more to it, so if you want to check the details out, you have to actually go to my, let me show that. Go to my About page, but you can also just write PokeHelp, exclamation mark PokeHelp in the chat. Oh wait. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, this is loading. So basically, if you go to my About page, you'll find this plugin here, and it says I have to be logged in to use it. I am currently not logged in this browser, but basically here you can interact with the game, and just try it out if you're on a desktop browser. I don't want to go into details, and yeah. There's also a link with a video which you can watch for more details. But basically we have that, and please tell me what you think about it. Do you like it? Is it too distracting? It's just something I want to try out, if it's going to be more fun or not. Awesome, already got one of the better starters. Yeah, that's true. And actually in the Pokemon game there, you can even battle other people. You can like buy items like Ultra Balls and things like that. There is all the stats like EVs, attack stats, defense stats, and all kinds of things like that, the default Pokemon things. And yeah, there's items, there's a battle, so everything you can imagine. And you can actually play it right within the panel on my About page. So inside of here, you can play the game, you can battle others and things like that. But for everyone else who's not like on a desktop browser, you can just play and catch Pokemon in the chat. And you can also let me just write here, PokeHelp. You can also find like more commands. You will find them here. So let's just go there. And for example, you could just say something like Pokedex, and then see like your Pokedex completion for a specific national dex. Or if you just write Pokedex, you will get the overall national dex, how many Pokemon you have caught and things like that. So yeah, long term, let's see how that's going, but that's definitely something new, and I wanted to mention that. Then something else, which is more on topic, is I actually, if you remember, I wrote an article about like the latest changes and things that happened in Swift Evolution. So if you don't know Swift Evolution, that's the Swift Evolution forums, so forums.swift.org. And then there's like different sections, but in the evolution section, you can basically find in the announcements, pitches, proposal reviews, basically that here's where the future of Swift is being discussed. And there's a lot of things happening here. For example, proposal reviews, which are probably the most interesting thing. And you can find like a list of all the proposals. They're all on GitHub at Apple Swift Evolution. And if you look at the proposals, there's like a lot of them. Like these are the latest ones. And knowing what's coming next in Swift is always a great thing. And basically what I'm doing in my newsletter is I'm summarizing that once a month because I'm following it myself, and I write about it here in this newsletter. I also wrote, this is basically the same article, but as a newsletter now. And yeah, you can basically, this is some background, but you can basically find a summary of those changes here in this form. And I'm planning to, yeah, send it out once a month. And if you're interested, make sure to subscribe. So let me also share that link for everyone who doesn't know that yet. And there's already 210 subscriptions, which is amazing. So I didn't expect that, but it seems like the community is actually looking forward to something like this, because there is nothing comparable to, and yeah, no one is doing something like that at the moment. There was something called the Swift Weekly Brief. I also mentioned that in my, yeah, you can read the article. I mentioned that in here, but it's no longer there. So that's the second thing. Then next, I did write an article. I already had announced this or talked about this before. I did write an article about my streaming setup, basically. So I write about like why I'm streaming, the motivation, and also my hardware that I'm using. And this is not an actual picture from my table, but basically you can find, like, I write about why I'm doing this, and then I go into like which hardware I'm using. So anybody with also alternatives I mentioned, and also the pros and cons, like my experiences with that specific hardware. So you can decide and get started also. And next week I'm going to do a second part to this, where I'm going to talk about the software I use and the settings. I think that's even more important. And that's basically a way to get anyone else who's interested in streaming started, because I personally believe that streaming is one of the great ways to both share and learn. So if you just stream, you're going to first get feedback from people joining in and just saying like, hey, maybe you want to try this out, you want to try that out. Or sometimes you just hang somewhere and then you can ask your viewers like, okay, what could I do here? Or even better, you can just watch your like parts of your streams later on and analyze how you were dealing with stuff. You can get statistics on how much time you're spending on what kind of thing. You can also, for example, if you struggled in some specific part, you can make a clip of that, share that on Twitter and ask about specific things. So I think there's like a lot of opportunities there if you just stream, and it's not going to hurt you, especially on Twitch. The streams that you do there, they are not recorded forever. They're just available for 2 weeks. So there's also no risk there really long term. And yeah, I think it's overall a great idea. So that's basically all the things that I'm using. And I mentioned it there. Let me send you the link to that article as well. Okay, and last but not least, this is the project we're going to work on now. So I think because this is the first time we're working on this project, I want to yeah, explain it a little bit, what it's about. And this is something I had created some time ago. It has like about 100 stars here. And actually, let me first try to catch a Pokemon. I'm not sure if that's possible already, or do we need to wait? Oh, Pokemon already escaped. Oh, so maybe I was too late. Anyways, so this is AnyLint, and AnyLint is basically a linter that is supposed to replace the custom lints of Swift Lint. So let me show you Swift Lint, which is also a great tool that I can absolutely recommend. I have not created it because I don't like this. I really like Swift Lint. And Swift Lint has this feature called custom rules. So you can see here, defining custom rules. You can define something like this, and it's basically based on a regex. So you can, for example, say, okay, search in Swift files, but not test Swift files. Give a name to your rule, and then you can define a regular expression that basically searches the matching files here for matches. And if it finds any matches, it reports a violation. And you can also specify in the case of Swift Lint, you can specify only search within comments and within identifiers. This is like you can also leave that away, so you can also search everything. And you can basically provide a message that is shown when the violation triggers. And you can provide a severity. So should it error, should it make your builds fail, or should it just show a warning in Xcode? And basically this is a great thing, but there's some things that this can't do. And what this can't do is, for example, and that's where AnyLint comes in. So you can see here in AnyLint, we have something very similar. You can specify, and it's all written in Swift at the moment at least, and we're going to talk about that later. But basically you write a custom lint rule here as well. You provide a name. So this is the short name and this is the description. I just put it into one thing. And then you provide a regex. And in this case, the regex, because this is all Swift, I could just reuse that because I have the same regex down here as well. No, it's not here. Okay, I'm not reusing it here, but I show that you could reuse it if you had like multiple custom rules. Basically, this is the regex. So I'm using a extension that I have inside, or a new type that basically is a simplification of NS regular expression to make it more readable and easier to use, basically. And yeah, this is the regular expression that we're using. So we're just matching the like readme. And this is a specific, this is something that you can't do on SwiftLint. One thing is you can check file paths. So on SwiftLint, you can only check the contents, and you can do that with AnyLint as well. You can only check the contents of a file, but you can't check like the naming and the structure of your project and things like that. And this rule, for example, checks for anything that's called readme, and it basically says also, and that's really cool. You can provide matching examples and non-matching examples. These are basically, these replace tests. So here you write a regex, and the problem with regex is you never know if they really work the way you want. And in AnyLint, you can easily check that by providing examples that you expect to actually match with your regex, and you can provide examples that you expect not to match. And if AnyLint, when you run AnyLint, if it finds that the regex doesn't match one of these, or if it finds that one of these are matched although they shouldn't, then it basically stops. It doesn't run this rule. It just tells you, hey, something is wrong with your regex. And that's a great way to make sure that your regex is proper, and you never need to really write a lot of, you don't need to test around a lot. And that's one of the advantages of AnyLint. And the other is, as I've already said, that you can also check file paths. And there's a lot of things you can do with that. For example, if you have a specific expected structure and things like that, you could basically lint that with this rule here. Ustem Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hey, how are you doing? Okay, so this is AnyLint, and you can see one of the interesting things about AnyLint, and this is basically describing when you set up AnyLint, you just run AnyLint init, and you can provide a template. In this case, we're using the blank template, and currently there is no other templates. My idea was that maybe the community could create more templates over time, but we'll see about that. And then it uses a tool called SwiftSH, which is basically a tool that makes it possible to write Swift script files. So scripting in Swift is not that great yet. And there's also discussions on Swift Evolution Forum about that. And maybe I'll write about it sometime. But basically, SwiftSH is, makes it possible that we can specify something like import AnyLint. And then we just say the GitHub name for AnyLint. You can find it at Flyingsoft, so it's Flyingsoft AnyLint. And then it basically automatically does the work to make sure that this dependency is available in this script. And that's something that Swift PM can't do right now. And that's where SwiftSH basically helps. And that's why it's depending on SwiftSH, which is one of the disadvantages of AnyLint, because SwiftSH is... yeah, sometimes it's not working properly when new Xcode versions are released. I got your notification when I look around something in Aldi, and then I return back to home quickly. How's it going? Okay, so you were shopping basically. It's going great. So I'm back from hiatus, and we have talked a bit about the new Pokemon game feature you can use here. So if you want to learn about that, just write !Pokemon. And yeah, the Swift Evolution Monthly also gets more and more subscribers, and today actually 20 or 30 new people subscribed, so check that out as well if you haven't already. But this is what we're going to focus on today in this first stream, and then we're going to go to the Open Focus Timer. So the problem is currently, and that's one of the things that I wanted to fix, and I've already started that right way before. Oop, a new Pokemon appeared, so let's try to catch that. Let me see about that. Okay, that might take a while, but I had already started making sure that we don't rely on SwiftSH anymore. And for that, it basically meant we need to not have Swift code anymore, or not required to have Swift code. So my plan is actually to migrate from a Swift code based lint.swift file to a YAML file where you can still say run this Swift script or any other script. And that's also going more into the name of this tool being called AnyLint. I had called it AnyLint because you can use it in any language, because it's just regular expression based. So you can lint any language with that, and not just like with Swift lint, which is like the name is about Swift, so you think it's only about Swift. Yes, I realized your newsletter and Dave's newsletter. Congrats, it's an awesome contribution. Thank you very much. I hope it helps, and yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so yeah, that's why I want to make this more broad. I want to broaden this AnyLint tool more, and I think a YAML file is good enough. It's also what SwiftLint uses, and it should be easier for other, like for example, a Vue.js developer who's mostly using JavaScript might not want to write Swift code, right? This is, although you can just copy and paste, it's still Swift code at the end, and that might be something that holds people off. So a YAML file, I think, is easier there, and all these features that we have here, I can also provide in a YAML file. You can see also, by the way, another feature that is missing in SwiftLint, which we have in AnyLint, is an autocorrection feature. SwiftLint does have some autocorrection features, but not for custom rules. And also SwiftLint, by the way, has for their rules, they also have tests, but not for the custom rules. And this is all about custom rules. So the autocorrect replacement allows you to specify a regular expression that basically reports when there's a violation, but you can try to autocorrect it automatically by saying, okay, in this regular expression, I have this group, and this is a so-called capture group. It's a regular expression feature. Oh, I caught the meow stick. That's cool. I have a meow stick now. So this capture group basically can be referenced in the autocorrect replacement by $1. And the second capture group here can be referenced by $2. And what this does basically is it says everything that matches this thing inside the capture group, reuse that and add it here at the beginning of the string and keep that. That's basically what it's doing. It's keeping it. And this capture group is catching everything that's basically coming after, and then it adds it at the end. And this part here, which is license with S here and C here, this is basically incorrect spelling of license, is changed to license with, which is the correct one, with C here and S here. That's like what we're doing here. And basically what this does is autocorrect anytime you have something like license here. It autocorrects that to, I think this is correct. I meant this one. If it matches something like this one here, it autocorrects it to this one. So it's changing the place of S and C. And this basically is helps you to have a, like you don't have to fix it manually, and this running AnyLint will fix it for you automatically. That's what AnyLint does here. And this autocorrect replay example basically is another thing that is both a test, like with the matching examples and non-matching examples, and a documentation. Because now users can just look at that and say, okay, if this example, if there was a before state which looked like something like this, I expect the autocorrect replacement to make it look like this afterwards. So you can basically test your autocorrect replacement as well. So this matching examples and non-matching examples is a test for your regex to make sure that you match the right ones and you don't match the ones you don't want to match. And the autocorrect replacement here can be tested with the autocorrect examples, where you just provide the before and after state, and you can provide as many as you like. And if any of these don't work as expected, so if, for example, this one gets corrected into something else than that, then AnyLint will not continue running this rule anymore. Instead, it will report to you, hey, something is wrong with your autocorrect replacement. Please make sure that it works. And this is, again, a security measure. And that's basically what AnyLint is doing right now. And that's the advantages. And again, Swift SH dependency is something I want to get rid of, so we don't have to specify everything in Swift, because Swift is not a great scripting language yet. There is a lot of things you need to install and path issues and things like that. And you can find them also in the issues. There's like a lot of things reported. And also, for example, the Swift SH header, which is currently, if you create one, you'll see it's user local bin Swift SH, but now Homebrew has changed it to opt local bin Swift SH. So it's like hard to keep up with that as well. And yeah, another feature that I wanted to add, maybe that's more long term, is that you can basically like that AnyLint works something like an like you have an orchestra of, imagine you have an orchestra of linters. You have Swift Lint, you have Swift format, you have AnyLint custom rules. Maybe you have like a JS lint, a HTML lint, a Markdown lint. There's a lot of linters. And my idea is that because it's also called AnyLint, it kind of makes sense to me that we provide some kind of structure, like a standard or something like that, for outputs that AnyLint then can read and basically put into one overview. And then you have like, you just have to run AnyLint in your project. You just say AnyLint, and then it runs all the different other linters. So they are basically triggered by AnyLint. It runs all the other linters and reads their output and detects like the warnings and errors, brings it into one standard format, and reports like everything in one place to you. So you can see like, okay, this is what all my linters, what warnings there are and things like that. Yeah, that's like the long-term feature I imagine for AnyLint, and I have started working on that as well. And let me just show you a few things here. So one thing I want to fix right now today is the wrong Swift SH path. Just changing the user to opt. I think that's going to make this tool work for everyone today, as is, like with just a small change. And technically, it's still working. You just, if you run AnyLint init blank, and you get this output, just change the user here. It's just a file. Just change the user here to opt, and then this should already work. So that's like that. But of course, that should be working automatically. Then we have some other things requested by different people. And for example, what I want to create is a GitHub action for AnyLint, so we can easily set it up in any project. And I think I have started, yeah, there we go, a template system. So I want to basically have something like run checks source, and I just provide a link to some Swift file or a YAML file later. And then I can say, okay, run this in the path tests and run only specific rules. So I can only get some specific rules or exclude some specific rules, or I can provide some options to those rules. And the idea is that you can basically, that the community can share different sets of linters, custom lint rules, and you can just reuse them. And, or you just share yourself, like you create one for your company, for all your projects, and you can just reuse them. That's the idea of this. And I think this could actually be replaced if we have something like an orchestration feature where AnyLint runs any other linters. Of course, then AnyLint can also orchestrate running AnyLint itself. So like one AnyLint instance is running 10 custom AnyLint instances and then summarizing their outputs. So that's maybe also how we could implement that. But yeah, there's also other things I have planned for this. So yeah, that's the summary of AnyLint. And I think we're getting to the end of our first 25-minute Pomodoro time here. So let me just check this out so we can get started. And I'm not sure if I have full access to this. I hope I do. We'll see. Let's get to it. By the way, my microphone used to not work, and in some way it stopped working last time for a couple of times. If that happens, please write it in the chat right away so I can fix it. We're not running without audio. Okay, let me check this out. I think I don't have it checked. I've checked it out yet. And one thing I want to mention here, as you can see, I have already started the work on the YAML structure. I'm not sure how far I am there. This was like September 2021, so it's some time ago already. But you can see a lot of commits here, so I have already done a lot of work. And I had also started a template system. And yeah, we're going to go into the break, but right after the break, we're going to continue with, it's a little bit noisy. Okay. I'll have a look at that, but yeah, I'll be back in 3 minutes and see you there. Okay, so I'm back. Before we get really started, I want to quickly thank the new followers, because we have some new here since the last stream, and that's LockMP0209. Thank you very much for following. Then we have Jay Hinwick. Thank you for following, and Kadir Alef, also thank you. But now let's get started with this. So it's a little bit noisy. You wrote, what I meant with what happened last time is the microphone died entirely for like a minute always, and then I fix it by just reconnecting it. So if that happens, please tell me right away. Otherwise, a little bit noisy. Maybe it's because I talk too loud, I don't know. I'll check that afterwards. I can't check it during the stream. But we're getting started now here. I have checked out the AnyLint project, and yeah, I had started on a template system. I think I didn't like that much. That's why I never completed that, but I just kept it in case I want to reuse it. But I did like this approach with the YAML file and then orchestrating later. So let's just see what that looks like right after fixing the quick opt path thing. So let's go first here. Just open the project. I haven't opened it yet. And I'm just going to open the package.swift file, which if you use Swift PM and this is a Swift package, you just double click this package.swift file and Xcode will automatically open it. You can make the whole structure and things like that. Another Pokemon to catch. See? A wild Solosis appears. What is that even? Pokemon that is. Ah, okay. Wanted to do it in German. Okay, so here's the project, and I checked out the dependencies. And let's just try building it. Let's just see what happens if I build. Just to make sure that everything's working. And it's failing. Let's see what am I? Okay. It's not a really useful output. Well, let me just see about the command line 2. Okay. The Pokemon notification is coming too often. Is that quickly? So here you can see like the back end of how to do these things. And we have the chat commands, the timers, and then the Pokemon one. Every 25 minutes, probably too much. Let's just do 4. Actually, just okay. We'll have these errors. So I didn't expect this to happen. So let's have a look at that. We are on the main branch, right? It should actually be building. Define symbol. Well, let's have a look at the package.swift file. So we could first upgrade the dependencies just to see if that fixes. Otherwise, we have AnyLint tests. I prefer to have the tests together down below actually. There we go. And maybe the executable target should be like at the top. Special target. And let's re-indent this with 2 spaces. I think this is all indented with 4 spaces, right? Oh yeah. Okay, I'm not going to fix it right away. Solosis has been caught. Yeah, I have another Pokemon here. Okay. Why is it failing? Let me go to the AnyLint. Okay, this is building. That's good news. Then if I go to the package, it says it doesn't build. It does build now. Cool. Now when I run the tests, do the tests pass? We have some tests here. See what it's doing. It's done. These should... Ah, there we go. Oh, tests are succeeding, it's building. I don't know why it didn't build before, but probably a dependency issue because we updated the dependencies now. Okay, this is a normalizing thing. Cool, now that this works, I basically want to make sure that we do have this user somewhere, so you can see it is documented first in the README, and we also have it here, top level in the CLI constants with the SH path. And I want to make this more dynamic or just provide the right one. I want to know like if something changed in Homebrew there. So Homebrew user path changed to opt path, something like that. Let's see if we can find anything. Path. Okay, here's something I recently purchased. M1 Homebrew packages are currently installed here, but it is my understanding they should be here. Okay, so it's the Apple Silicon Mac thing. I see, I see. So maybe we can just make this more dynamic. And one way I know that you can check for SwiftSH. I always use that on the command line. You can always run which SwiftSH, so just type the command name and it tells you the path where it's installed. Maybe we can just run this command from inside AnyLint and make it more dynamic, which path is provided here. But I will update the documentation at least to be about M1 Macs, because that's the future, right? Long term, everyone will have something like opt here, same here. Oops. And this one I need to do make dynamic, so that's something I want to fix. Make this dynamic, e.g. SwiftSH. Here we have, this is I think a sample file, right? Or is this from the tool itself? I think this is from the tool itself. So if we run AnyLint inside the AnyLint directory, let me just make sure to stage these changes. If we run AnyLint within AnyLint, okay, it says SwiftSH not installed. I guess it's telling me this because the path isn't right. So if I just do this here, it'll work then. It's even not working like this. So when do we get this? Please install that as well. Okay, we already have a check for if SwiftSH is installed or not. And we're doing just file exists with the SwiftSH path here. So that's how we fix it, how we do it, and that's also something we need to fix. And if we fix this and make this more dynamic, it should work. So a very easy fix would be just to make this a computer property, like that. Okay. I have to either change the tab width settings here, or I have to fix them all. And I think I'm going to keep it for now. I think I have fixed it in the YAML project anyway. So I'm just going to change this to a dynamic computer property. And here we're going to make this thing here fall into this. But basically this should also fix it here. This is an area where we'll have the right path. That's easy enough. I hope it works though, because I don't know. I'm working currently with app sandbox issues with an app that I'm developing. I hope we don't have that here with the command line tool, but I don't think we have. So I think we can run something like this easily. and then we just get the outputs here. And let me just check if I already have something like that here anywhere. Like running a command line command. CLI commands. So this is the command specification of the tool itself. These are the templates that we have so far. Constants, validate or fail. Actually, it's not many files. Maybe I can just do. Okay, I have many. Anyways, I'm going to not make big changes. These are the commands that I have defined, but I'm not performing any command line. Oh, I do. Task run. Okay, I do run something, so I can actually run commands with task.run. Is this the type I define myself? Ah, okay. It's from the Swift CLI. Can I also... Okay, let's check out Swift CLI. Maybe we can actually read the outputs of that command as well. Maybe there's a command for that. Yes, then we have something. Easy solution. So this is how you define it. Commands, options, command groups, shell completions, built-in commands, external tasks. I think that's what it's. Okay, so we can run. We can also capture. So this is exactly what we need. Execute a command and capture the output. Cool. Can also use the task class for custom behavior. Yeah, we just need something like this. Let me just copy that. And basically, just run that in the CLI constants. Something like that. We of course have to import CLI. We just run this and we just say, in this case, not storing, but instead just returning. Oh, actually, we need to store because we want to check if this is nil or not, right? So if I run this command and I don't have a tool installed, what is the output? If I run which ABC not found. Okay, this is the output. That's interesting to know. Here, and if we have it, which Swift SH, just put something like this, which is just a path. Either we get the path or we get this. Let's say, also let's change that to which Swift SH. Swift SH path output. And then we could just say something like, make double checks. So also this could change the structure, but I'm just going to say if Swift SH output contains the word not found. Actually, I'm expecting the path, wherever it is, to not have any white spaces even. So we could even make like a heuristic check there by saying, okay, I don't expect any white spaces here. You can never know, maybe somebody has it somewhere else. Let's just make it not found. Also, we could check for the slash at the start. I think that also specifies that this is a path. So I expect it not to be to not include not found. And with SH output, I expect it to start with so has prefix to start with a slash. But basically we want to fail if it doesn't have a slash. So if any of these happens, or let's just make this a guard because we're going to fail early, return early. So guard, and I'm guarding that it does not contain any found, and it has the prefix. Else, that is not the case. If any of these is not the case, then we're going to, and then the question is what we're going to do. We could just provide this default one here, like that, because that's what most people are going to have. Or we just return a failure. We just say like, hey, you don't have it installed, something like that. And actually we do have that already somewhere. So this is validate or fail. File manager file exists and path. Maybe we could change this logic here to actually do something like that. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Swift sh installed. Fails if Swift sh is not installed. Okay, file manager exists, and then the failing is just this with a log message. Maybe this is easy enough to do elsewhere. Anyhow, let's reuse the structure we already have. So instead of just doing that, I'm going to get the path here, and I'm just going to say, okay, if that is the case, then we're failing. That's the logic. Already implemented. In that case, we're just failing. And otherwise, what do we do otherwise? I guess this is just the code that we put into here. And now we could provide actually a alternative, which is the path we had before. And the alternative could just be that. So if you're requesting for the path, I first try to get the right path, the proper path, by running which Swift sh. If that fails, I'm going to return the default path I expect to have on Homebrew, so we don't have nothing. And I will make sure though that we fail early and we run this, and let's check where this is being called. So in Lint task it's being called, Swift sh installed. It's not being called on the init task, and I think it should be called there as well. Go to the init task. While execute appears. Let's catch that. Try to catch and also see what Pokemon that is. Execute. Ah, that's it. Oh, I execute. Interesting. Learning the English names now. So I want to make sure that this also fails if you run the init task. So basically what we do is inside the perform, I first check that it's has the config file, things like that. But in the init case, I'm just going to call. Okay, maybe first also we should make sure that no file exists there. And then we should run this. Okay, so I think this should work. So any task I'm running, I'm making sure that actually the that Swift sh is installed, and if not, we're reporting that it should be installed. And also I want to change the install output, because it just says follow instructions on to install. Please follow instructions. Or try brew install Swift sh. Not sure if that's a recommended way to install. Let me check that. Okay. So yeah, this is the recommended way actually. So execute escaped. No one caught it. Oh, that's a bummer. Brew install Swift sh. So that's good. Or follow instructions on. If the instructions change, we have it covered by saying or follow instructions, but I think this is going to be what works for most. Brew install Swift sh. Cool. I think this is already the entire fix. Of course, we're going to test that. So this is okay. We don't need the warning anymore. Let's remove it. We have implemented that. And we have changed. Okay, what is this guard here? That's weird. Okay, this is a leftover. We don't need that anymore. I think if we have which SwiftSH, it will only show something if there is actually a file, so we don't need to check that extra. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, here I have changed the spaces. Maybe I should revert that to 4 spaces for consistency within the project. Okay, let's stage that as well. There we go. And the examples are changed. And the test has changed. So last but not least, let's run those tests again, just to make sure they're still. And we have a failure. By errors not handled. Oh yeah. Try this. And if this try fails, what should we do then? Why could this fail? Let's read the documentation here. Throw capture error if command fails. So if something goes wrong with their implementation here, I think then we have a more serious problem. I think this should never happen. So if I had SwiftSH not installed, this should not happen. So I'm going to just say yeah, let's just guard that SwiftSH and just try that with an optional. And in case this fails, I'm going to just return with a different message. So I'm just going to call it fail to read the SwiftSH path running which SwiftSH. Please report an issue. And then this should definitely be reported on GitHub. It should report an issue on new issue. I mean a bug report. If it isn't already reported. Error failure, cool. Let me run the tests again. Expected else off the guard, of course. And it failed because being not unwrapped. Did you mean to use try or climb with? Okay, I think I have to just put this in braces. Doesn't get that this is the alternative. About the tests, and they have passed. So the tests are looking good. I'm going to make one manual test, two, but basically this is the fix. Make path of SwiftSH or detect path of SwiftSH tool dynamically. That's the change we made. And now I'm going to basically run this tool on my Mac and see if everything is working as expected. An interesting thing is, if I run this, the question is, what exactly is it running? And for that, we can go into the scheme, go into run, and see if we're passing any arguments, and it doesn't look like it. So we're not passing any arguments, it's just running AnyLint. It already says no configuration file found, and then there's like the path that we have here, and it's running some weird path. It's saying consider running AnyLint in it first. And yeah, let's do that. minus init. Again. This time it's basically saying and anything blah blah blah, and it's saying init configure, and I have to provide a value and it needs to be blank. That's the only option we have, and we are going to do that right after the break. So see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so we were here and we wanted to fix that we want to pass blank to the init, and actually the output we had was like run the init command, and I think that's something we could improve. So let's actually improve the output there first. So we are somewhere reporting something like, I think it's this one. Yeah, no configuration file, consider running with a template. Not name AnyLint init. Let's just go with blank with the template. EG. Now we can provide the full path like this here. Blank. And maybe we could just say running, consider running init with the template EG. I think this is more useful because then people love to copy and paste. Thank you for following Jason blah blah blah. How are you doing? You like to talk a lot? Is that why you called Jason blah blah blah? Okay, so yeah, people like to copy and paste. That's why I think this is better. And now let's also use that. So let's edit the scheme again and let's actually pass blank here. So when we run AnyLint, it should now run the init blank command. Now we can see failed to read the SwiftSH path via which SwiftSH, so this is interesting to see. Please report this issue at... Okay, we're seeing it ourselves. Why could this be the case? Let's actually read the... or let's actually export the issue we had there. So please report this issue. Failed to read error. Error message, and we might just want to do catch here, so we have the error message. Now we're doing that, and then we have the catch. If we catch an error there, and we could actually do the do like this. So if we catch it, we want to fail like this. If we don't catch it, we have this variable which we can use further down, and the type, of course, we need to specify, which is string. And now we have an error, and we can just say localized description. Let's run the command again. Now we should... Okay, something is wrong. Oh, okay. There we go. Failed to read which error message. The operation couldn't be completed. Capture error, error 1. Not very useful, to be honest, but it's capture error, error 1. So let's look that up on Swift CLI. Actually, we have it maybe here. Capture error. So it has error 1. So we have an exit status. We have captured. We have a message, which is the... Okay, maybe we can just call into the message. See what's happening. A wild Baltoy appears. Let's catch that. So, I think it's catch is... Let's actually do switch error. Case is a capture error. Just output something more useful. And default to... No, I think we can use localized description for like found like system errors if there are any. But I'm not sure if there are even any. And if everything could be capture error. So in this case, still not a capture error, so we have to type it. Can we use as here? Not really. How can we capture as? Swift error capture as typed, something like that. There like a typed version for that, or do we really have to? Where? Okay. Catch specific ones. I want to just check the type. Not what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm just going to go for what I know works. And that's if let capture error as capture error. In that case, we do this. Else we do that. Let's delete this. And let's run this again. Of course, we have now the message available in the capture error. It's actually an optional. Oh, maybe it failed. Failed status. We have the status code, I think. Exit status, that's what it is. Message. Capture error.message. What's pushing failed? Protected branch. Oh, I can't push to the main. That's not a problem. It is maybe a problem. Yeah, I do want to do things from here. I'm going to fix that later. Message capture error.message. This should work now. So failed to read, which exit is 127, and let's just do. But it says in which Swift and then no such file directory. What does that mean? I have to provide a command. Okay, let's read the documentation actually of this here. So I need to use this bash one because I'm providing like a full command there, and that's going to look like that. And the access. Let's still improve this. So capture error message nil. Let's just do nil. Should read better. That's what access as one message, and then message is like nothing. Empty. Why does this fail? Get an empty string for the message. Exit status is 1. Is 1. Exit status 1. Why is it all German? I never understand this. Everything is configured for English. Let me double check. Go and change. search. Maybe we can just go to the for DuckDuckGo. Maybe it will understand better that I'm actually requesting English. And this is asking me like if I want to use my location for the results or not, which I prefer. So yeah, one means error, right? Zero signifies success. So we have a fail and we don't know why it fails. Maybe we need to provide the path to which. Oh, which shell built-in command. Oh, so it's not like a tool, it's like a command. Interesting. So maybe, how can I get full path of executable? Maybe that's actually not something we can do. Try, how can I get the full path of an executable? Or let's just ask for which command not working in bash. The script uses bash and let's start with this. If you execute command line which shell about the which. Okay, which reports is found a version in, okay. Which command doesn't work? Maybe that's all even reported here. You just see which issues, how to pass. So I can refer to executables, but somehow, like what I'm trying to do is find where this executable lies. Okay, let me try something else. What if we could just say that we don't provide the full path here. Instead, we just provide swift.sh. Like this. Actually keep the previous code. Just go for sh. Well, this works, so I'm going to skip the check here entirely. I might go back to the before. Let's run this. Let's just see what happens. So it does work successfully because it's the init command, but the question is what is actually written in here and if this command actually works. So open that file. Let's just see what it's what the output was now. And yeah, this is the output. I hope this works. And we're going to just cd into that directory. Just run AnyLint. It's not installed. Okay, because I'm using not my AnyLint, I'm using that AnyLint from there, but we could simply start AnyLint, and I believe we have, if I go to AnyLint help, we have a way to specify a path from which to run it. So that's something we can use, because we want to run in this path. Or actually, it's already running in that path automatically here, right? So we just maybe need to specify and remove that and just run AnyLint as is. Okay, it does say linting failed using config file. Start using, okay. No such file directory. Yeah, SwiftSH. There is an issue with SwiftSH. I don't know how to exactly fix that. Okay, one thing I could do is to not make that dynamic. Instead, provide logic, like asking for which platform we're in, and depending on the platform, returning a different directory. And for that, I want to find documentation where Homebrew stores things. So Homebrew, which directory, user, or opt. I want to really know how they make that decision. Let's read all these things here to understand what Homebrew is actually doing. This is a symlink path. Not what we're looking for. Why is this secretive? Weird. There you go. So here we have user. Oh, okay. Script installs his preferred prefix for macOS Intel or for Apple Silicon, and this for Linux. So we even have a Linux here, so that you don't need sudo and you brew install. I see it is careful script, but can you run? That's cool. So we have official information here. And I'm going to actually link to this post in our code, so we are sure to know what we're doing. And if we really need this, I think we need to reword the implementation, but here basically we need some logic. And we have to detect the platform. That's a separate question, so let's just say like, let's just provide an enum platform. Case, one is Intel, one is ARM64, and one is Linux. This is what they called it also themselves, right? macOS Intel, Apple Silicon, okay, that's what I called it. Apple Silicon, and we have Linux. And each of them has a separate path, and basically we can say something like switch platform. And platform is somehow to be detected, so let's just put it on Apple Silicon for now. And if the platform is Intel and Apple Silicon and Linux, each time we do something else. Now let's catch the Pokemon quickly. We have a Caracosta appeared again. Caracosta. Ah, okay, it's this one. Interesting Pokemon. Intel App Silicon. In the case of Intel, we just return what was the case before, what was user local. This is what we had before. In the case of App Silicon and Linux, we will have here we have opt local and rotations. Opt homebrew though, that's interesting. Which Swift sh. It is opt homebrew. Local, this is opt homebrew. And on Linux they state it is home Linux brew. So I'm just going to expect it like this. And that's it basically. Then I don't need this logic. This switch doesn't work anyways. Now I just need to implement the detection of the platform. So detect platform. Caracosta has been caught. Cool. And yet another Pokemon. Detect platform. That's something we need to do. And this enum, we could extract it. Where does it make sense? Or do we even need an enum? Yeah, let's see. It depends on how we detect the platform. So let's see. Swift detect if Intel or Apple Silicon. Background. Why is this website like? What is this? Filters for Stack Overflow. Top secret. Ah, I see. I don't want to have any filters though. 3D glasses. Wow. New feature. Hot dog stand. Kinda cool. And obviously we're going to prefer terminal for this stream. It looks kind of a bit ugly though. Anyways. God, this is really ugly. Revert that. How can I choose the design here? Oh no, filters, there we go. We're back to default. Okay, so you can use a uname function. This is equivalent to uname minus m. Runtime. Interesting. Or in Swift I can do something like UTS name. Access returns. Okay. Why not? Let's use this. This is going to be private static. Okay. This is basically it's getting the platform. Let's also make this a private enum. This is like an extension. This is a helper. So put it extra. See my constants. Okay, so we have 5 private enum and 5 private get platform. And then it returns a platform. So sysinfo, UTS name, let's read the documentation if it has any. No, not really. Okay, sys, let's correct it. No description. Unsafe mutable pointer int 32. Yeah, this is the end, but it does write into a UTS name. Okay. And then you can say like C string, system info, machine 0. Wow. This is really not well documented. POSIX, it's a UTS name. Oh goodness. There's machine. Name of OS. Name of network code, release level. hardware type. Okay, we're going to play around with this a little bit to see what we get out from there. And then we're going to implement right after the short break. Okay. As a reminder for everyone, when there's a break, make sure to stand up, get some fresh air, stretch a little bit. That's always important to do multiple times, and every 25 minutes I think is a good thing. Okay, so we want to explore these calls into machine. I think machine is the one we really care. Maybe sysname. So let's just play around with that. Although we have machine 0 already as a solution, maybe it will just work. Sure. You know what, let's just try this out as is. And then just say like, okay, switch over that. And if it is, and they said x6864, that, then return Intel. This. Return Apple Silicon. I guess we're not supporting Linux yet. Anyways, how can we solve that on Linux? I think we have if Linux. Left if Linux. If OS Linux. Yeah, that was right. So Linux is easy. If it's Linux, else, and if it's Linux, we just return Linux. Simple as that. Else, we do this logic. We can return nil here in the case that is not success. If it's not success, we could just assume it's one of them. We just make this, yeah, let's just make it more explicit. So this is optional. Then we go here and say something like, actually, yeah, that's not making optional because in the case of Linux, it's always true as an honest value. So let's just return Apple Silicon. Let's think long term here. I think everybody's going to have Apple Silicon Max. At least every developer is going to have Apple Silicon Max long term. That's the future anyways. So this is looking good, and then we don't have a default yet. It's also default to Apple Silicon. Although let's actually go and fail layer here. Message unexpected. Machine type, processor type. Let's just print it because I want to know, and we can fix it right away. For now, of course, we need to not ship that, so fall back to a default instead. Let's not forget it. Let's complete this first. So we have this logic that is getting the platform. So get platform. And now it should be different. So let's see what happens. Linting failed, I see that, but we have this with this H path, and okay, this logic I want to basically revert to what we had at right at the beginning, before we started doing anything else. So we had something like file exists at path, and it just checks the path that we get returned from here, and this kind of makes sense to me. But we did improve this error message, so let's copy that back. Install, please try. There you go. Back. And let's just copy this text in. At least we have this improvement. but otherwise I think this is looking good. So I am going to run the init blank command again, and I have to delete this. Move. Oh, let's run it. What happens? Created, things like that. But we did not validate this, right? So we wanna, or do we validate this? Let me check the init command again. Init task. Yeah, it does. Okay, it does run this, and it does work. It seems to work. Let's see what the output is. Let's get into here, and let's just go for. Let's just store this in a variable like let platform processor type or something like that. Or how do you call it? What's the right term here? So they're looking for Apple Silicon on Mac machine. Like the hardware name. I just want to call it processor name or processor. What is ARM64? Let me use the right term. Wikipedia. Oh, there it is. The hardware architecture, right? Power computer processors. Yeah, I'm gonna call it processor architecture, CPU architecture, maybe just that. Architecture. There you go. I think that represents what this is pretty well. And now I can just debug into this, and if I run that, okay, if it already exists, do it again. Now if I run that, I should get into this, and I should be able to see what the value. It's ARM64. It actually does work exactly as I want it. Let's just print this thing. Okay, it's not very useful. Basically, this is what we've done. And let's read the other things as well. Like system info dot. What else do we have? This name? Darwin. Ah. That's interesting. Node name. My MacBook's name. Release. Wow, this is really interesting. Version. And machine. Okay, this is pretty looking pretty good. And I think it's important to document where we have this from, so it's also clear to anyone else who reads this later why we have this code. Let's copy this link and add it here. Source. Otherwise, it is looking good. It's reverting. It's like the fallback is. Fallback platform silicon. Cool. This works for me. Enum is here. Just HPath. I think this should be good. Let's review the commit, and I'm actually going to amend the changes to my last commit because this is now rendered like unneeded anymore. Instead, we want to have this. So the final changes, we don't need actually this. We don't need anymore because we're not using any. We're not running any commands. We can just discard. Then we are changing this. Obviously, that looks correct to me. Yeah. And and this is the new logic. Then we have improved output here. We are also ensuring that SwiftSH is installed when you're running the init command. And well, is looking okay. The examples are updated to Apple Silicon. Same here. This looks good to me. Let's run the tests. It's cool. And let's also try running the init command, just the AnyLint command as is. Let's see what happens there. So it says no configuration file found at, and then it says okay. Should consider running AnyLint init with a template. This is the old output. Why is it? Did we change this as well? We did. What's going on? There it is. Okay, we had improved that as well. We lost it, I think, though, because we reverted the changes, but we can still see it because I have not recommitted yet. I can just go to the commit history and we should be able to see it here. Second. No configuration. Oh, okay, this is the configuration file. This is different. I remember what I wrote. Consider running the init. Running init. EG template. A template EG, and then add the copy and paste ready. Cool. Let's go back. Okay, this is looking good. This is now also looking great. And when I run it now, it's going to tell me I should run init first. Do that. Create a file, run it without. We should have the init file now, and it is running, but it is saying some weird things. Okay, it is. Basically, it's running and it's fetching the dependencies and things like that because SwiftSH is needed. Looks like it's working. Nice. Everything is looking good, and on the issues we have to make a new release, and I don't have the rights at the moment to push and things like that, so I will have to do that. Let me quickly try to give me more rights on GitHub with my streaming account here. Bear with me. We have AnyLint here. Desktop website. Versus settings. There we go. Collaborators. To the password. Why can I not sign in? What's going on? Okay, something's weird here. I'll actually do it on the Mac, so I'll take a quick break and I'll be back shortly once I fix that. Okay, let's try again. Let's hope this works. Yes. there we go. Okay, we fixed the rights that we were missing. Now we can actually push, and we can also make a new release. Update formula. So we had version 0.8.3 where we fixed the bug, and I think we just did the same. So let's actually initialize Git Flow here with main version. Oops. Versions is our production branch. Versions main, and I think we're calling them whip. Can you release? Call it 0.8.4. Now we don't have a tag yet. Yes. Let's actually finalize the release by documenting things and making a new tag and release. Okay, right. But this is AnyLint, and we want to basically search for anything related to 0.8.3. Of course, we have to document what we changed. And we basically worked on, oh god, my nose is kind of running today. Wrongs with this H path. This is basically the bug that we fixed, so we should mention that. And this is a fix. Fixed an issue with pointing to the wrong Swift SH path on Apple Silicon. Should also fix path on Linux. And 2 white spaces at the end, then other, copy that from below, and issues for issue. This is actually the link of 46. Other documentation and the related PR. There is no related PR. This is the new release. Copy that. Nope. So we're going to keep an empty release section, unreleased section. At the same time, we're going to release 0.8.4, and that's 2022. Today's April 1st. Actually, it's April 1st. So maybe somebody has a good fool's joke. Nice. You actually check something here. Okay. So let's continue with the release. Where else do we have references of a3? This can be changed only after the release, so I'm not going to do that right now. And I think 12.5 should still be working. Any issues there? But this documentation here, let's change them. And the current version is 8.4. The reason why this can only be changed later is because this needs the revision of the commit that has the tag on it. New tag, and we didn't make the commit yet, so we don't know the hash yet, so we can't make that. But that's basically bump version no and finalize new changelog section. I think this is what we are doing here. Yep. That should actually be it. Finalize the release. Will create a tag for us. Now we have the 0.8.4 flag tag, and it should have actually merged to the versions branch as well. Yes, it did. Now we're going to push the main, and we're also going to push to the main versions. Now we know the commit SHA, so we can actually go here and also upgrade this here. State something like update formula to version 0.84. And that's basically a new release. And our timer says make a break, but let's complete this first. Last thing we need to do to finalize this properly, and let's see if this is merged actually. No, it's not. But this is already solved, and let's just copy the commit. So it's solved in this commit. Solved in this here. And last but not least, let's just copy the changelog contents. We can also do it here. Matter. Let's just copy this and make a new release here on GitHub as well. After new release, copy that content here, choose the tag 0.84 and publish the release. That's it. Now we have a new AnyLint release and it should be installable now via Homebrew. So if I just reset and we just say brew upgrade AnyLint, should upgrade after I have fixed this path issues quickly. Let's reset again. Brew upgrade AnyLint. Should install the new version. Go, it is building. Installing in the right place. After the install, we're just going to test it out. We're just running the init method and seeing if the output now has the right path, and then just running it. So also in some project. And we could actually set this up in the Open Focus Timer project. So this is like some warnings, but when we say which AnyLint looks nice and AnyLint version, but it should be version. Document as version. Make it -v. There you go. It's 0.84. So that's the new version. And if we just go to Open Focus Timer now, to just set this up there. Is I think a good idea, so let me pull these two README fixes. So we want to set up AnyLint here, so let's run. Let's run AnyLint init, and if we run just init, it will tell us that we need to provide options, and init needs a value. So we need to provide blank. Now we have setup. And we can see there's now a new file called Lint.swift, and if I just open that, this is the new file. And it looks somewhat like this. So we have like a check for the README path, and also we have like a README top level title and some more things. So there is some things going on here, and the syntax highlighting is not properly working actually. I think it's because the Atom editor doesn't know about the about the hashtag syntax for escape strings like this one here, or that one. That's why this looks weird in Atom at least. But this is basically that, and we can see it's now opt homebrew. So if we run this now, we just say AnyLint, it should actually work. It's looking good so far. And please note that if you use AnyLint, you of course need to install SwiftSH right now before. And it says it performed 4 checks in 122 files without any violations. So there were no violations in those files with the rules that are set up in the blank one here. So let's actually commit this. Setup AnyLint config file using blank template. So that's that. and work like setting up everything on GitHub Actions and things like that. We're going to talk about that in a future stream, because there is an issue about that, and that's something I want to improve. So if I just go to GitHub Action, you'll see that I want to basically provide a GitHub action for the server, for the CI, so you can easily set it up. But this is the part on AnyLint for today, and I am going to take a 1 hour break now to have a lunch break, so that's my lunch break. And after that, I'm going to be back with my work on the open focus timer. We're going to continue from where we left off, so I'm going to summarize this and continue there. If anyone missed the beginning of the stream, so we have some new things. So first, let me mention again the Swift Evolution monthly newsletter that I started. Let's see if there is any new subscribers. Yeah, 11 more subscribers just during the stream, which is amazing. So that's great to see. And yeah, you can find it on se-monthly.flyingdev.com, and you can subscribe. I'm basically summarizing the latest changes on Swift Evolution here. I have this new article which I just posted yesterday about the stream, and I go into the motivation, like why I'm doing this stream, what's the point of it, and also the hardware setup. And next week I'll be writing on my software, which software I use, which tools, and my settings. So if you're interested in streaming, check this out. And I think more people should be streaming to both share and learn. I think it's definitely a great thing, and I think more are going to be streaming in the future. It's like an extension of being active on Twitter, which many people recommend. I think it's streaming even some part of your work. You don't have to stream everything, but some part of your work is going to help you improve really fast. So that's definitely something I recommend to everybody who can do that. And yeah, we worked on AnyLint, and we're going to continue with the open focus timer in the second part. If you enjoyed this at any point, make sure to like it if you're watching this on YouTube. And other than that, thank you very much, and see you next time, or see you later in the next stream. Bye.